Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. This past weekend I participated in Mono Bluetron's Yu-Gi-Oh! Cwarantine series, and I've gotta say, it's the best regional experience I've ever had. No long drives, free admission, and food that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. While I didn't make the top 8 cut, I did make it through all the Swiss rounds with a modest 4-3 record. And the unique thing about this event is that I have replays, so it's easy to show what I did, what my opponents did, and how it all flows together. So in today's video, I'll be showing what I ran, replays of all the games, and at the end I'll analyze my performance, trying to identify what I did right, as well as the things I did wrong so that I can fix them for the future. Quick disclaimer though, I don't want to present any of this footage as me disparaging my opponents, win or lose. All the people I was paired with were excellent duelists, and this video is purely an exercise in reviewing my performance. If we dueled and you're watching this, thanks again for the great matches. Now, on to the deck list. For this event, I ran Eldlich zombies for two very important reasons. One, I wanted to play something that I felt I could manage to pilot in the short amount of time that I felt I could get together a deck for. Adamantes are very powerful, but I didn't think I could brew and then learn all the combo lines for that deck, and I felt I could manage a deck like Eldlich a lot better. The second reason is, you know, they're a Golden Lord, I'm a GoldenNova, it just seemed to fit. We were running double Eldlich, double Baylor Drock, triple Gozuki, triple Shiranui Solitaire, double Necroworld Banshee, double Mizuki, double Unizombie, one Jet Synchron, one Fraulein, one Jacobolin, one Glow Up Bloom, triple Eldorlando, triple Black Awakening, double White Fate, and double Red Splatter. We also had triple Performa Pal Popper-Up, triple Lightning Storm, triple Super Polymerization, double Zombie World, and two each of Conquistador, Guardian, and Huaquero, with Everglorious Golden Land at 2 to top things off. For the extra, we had Drago Nether Necrosoul, Salamangreat Violet Chimera, and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon as our super poly targets, Boral Sword, Appaloosa, Unicorn, Phoenix, Cerberus, double Sucker, double Avenged Savior, one Needle Fiber, one Verte Anaconda, and one Linkuriboh. For the side, we ran triple Nibiru, triple Lancia, triple Crow, triple Evenly Matched, and triple Solemn Judgment. So yeah, right off the bat you'll notice that I was running a 49 card deck. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. I justified it by saying that I had a lot of toolbox cards I could go into, and a lot of play starters. You had Eldorlando, you had Solitaire, Unizombie, Gozuki. You had a bunch of things that could toolbox cards out of your deck, and with the Eldlixirs and the Golden Land cards like thinning your deck every turn by searching more cards, I felt like I could overcome the larger deck size by just thinning my deck and searching as quickly as possible. I also figured out I didn't really use most of my extra deck. I think I super polyed like twice and I never touched Violet Chimera. I was very scared about Salamangreat this format. I also didn't go into any of my Link 4s. I feel like Appaloosa is something to definitely drop, and I think that Boral Sword is just going to be helpful in very specific situations to close out games. I just never saw it this time around. Verte Anaconda is another thing I'm probably going to drop too. I figured it would be nice to have a super polymerization in the extra deck so that I could clear out boards, but I failed to account, among other things, that Verte Anaconda is a plant, so the second I used an Eldlixir, I was locked out of using Verte Anaconda, so, yeah, very big non-bow there. And with the decklist out of the way, we're just going to do a bit of unscripted review of all my games. Okay, so game 1 was against Guru Control, though from this opening, I never could have known. I thought that I was fighting some kind of weird rogue strategy, but, man, I understand the situation. I got really lucky because it just feels like they bricked really hard on that one. I was able to punch in for a little bit of damage, especially after that Cyberstein play. That really put them on a back foot. They didn't have a lot of wiggle room at that point, and the card economy had already gotten really simplified by that point. Yeah, Lightning Storm once again proving that it is just outstanding in any situation. Even if it's negated, it just gets negation out of the way. And this is... I was also very happy to figure out that an empowered Eldlich punches over a Guru, even if the Sub-Terror Trap combines its attack and defense, so that was pretty cool. And there's the Spell Mining Cave. So one of the things that I was worried about after I signed in was, oh my god, I'm playing another deck that has no Mystic Mine outs, and by the good graces of the designers, We do actually have an Optimistic Mind in the main deck, and that's pretty awesome. Oh, okay, cool interactions coming up here. I didn't know that you could activate the final battle and then use it to trigger a Paleozoic to get a blocker on board. That was really cool. Okay, game 2. Yeah, this is definitely a slaughter. Setting 4 back row, 2 of them being judgments is like, I couldn't have known that I was in for such a oh man, such a gummy play sequence, but oh yeah, and then the Twin Twister really blows me out. I really relied a lot on this tournament on being able to resolve Baylor Drock to get me a body and just free advantage, but you know, you get the Twin Twister. It didn't manage that instead of free red splatter. A, because even the 1 card wouldn't have done much, and B, the extra Solemn Judgment just puts in so much work. Okay, this is a huge misplay on my part. I should have remembered that Guru was a quick effect at that point, and I should have normal summoned the Banshee so that I could at least quick effect it to get a Zombie World onto the board, which would have got me a Baylor Drock. Instead, all I did was essentially set a monster and get nowhere. Yeah, I get really punished here. Yeah, I summoned Guardian of the Golden Land to give me a little extra time. What else do I draw here? It can't be much. They have negation in the form of Fiendus. Yeah, Lightning Storm. I choose monsters because I don't know. That was a really bad point of contention on my part. But yeah, nothing else to say there. They got control of the game really early, and they held it like a champ. Okay, so now I'm going first. Okay, so this is I think the first time that I'm using Performapal Popper-Up the way I intended. The idea was that since the deck was so huge, I wanted to play a really powerful draw spell like Popper-Up, and I felt like it combined really well with all the Eldlichs and the Golden Lands, just turning every discard not only into another draw, but then just a way to start cycling through my engine to get all that control advantage going. Like, yeah, for instance, now that I'm finished rambling and I'm back into this, now I've got an Everglorious with a Eldlich behind it. The super polymerization does mean a lot of bad stuff, but with 3 back rows, and we get the Baylor Drock back for free because of field spell time, it's just it's so brutal. Because then we just summon the other Baylor Drock out. I thought that Phoenix would destroy Baylor Drock, so I wanted to get an additional body on board, but I don't think that was the case. And Jackabolin once again proving how amazing it is at just triggering Baylor Drock. It was so good. Alright, now it is Orcust. This one is a duel that I'm very proud of. Orcust are still very powerful, and I didn't think that if I ran into them I would come out ahead, which I guess is a bit of a spoiler, but this does go on for a bit. This is not these are never easy matches. Okay, yeah, we have the opportunity to force the Babel out here, which I was very, very happy about. Kind of hoping they would send the Eldorlando, but it works out. Yeah, there we go. We were able to send Glow Bloom with the, oh yeah, we were able to send Glow Bloom under Zombie World so we get the Baylor Drock, so even though they can quick effect summon Unicorn, Baylor Drock's already on the board, so I let them shuffle away the field spell because it was better to just punch them out because I had game damage available, so I just wanted to guarantee punching through for game. Okay, game 2. Yeah, this is where they just go crazy berserker. I saw that they were trying to use that they had the Union Carrier extra deck lock because they had the little Buster Dragon last game in hand. But they make the smart move to Union Carrier equip another Nightmare, yeah, from the deck, because the deck already plays really well without an extra deck, so they decided to give them a chance to extend further later on. So that was a really heads-up play. I get another chance to force the Babel activation, which I was very fond of, and this is my big, huge misplay right here. I wanted to get greedy here because I feel like they're going to use Symbol Skeletons to summon another Dark, and then I would use Super Polymerization, but they didn't do that the way I wanted them to. Instead, I set the Super Polymerization, and then they quick effect the Orochi, and then I've lost everything, and I'm just out of the game. Yeah, so that's just enough game damage right there. Yeah, sends the red splatter. Even if I activated it, I wasn't going to be able to. It wouldn't survive that effect. So, oof, boy. Okay, we're starting first on this one, and okay, this one is one where again I am very, very lucky. So right now we have a full 5 back row. I have Nibiru in hand, and I shotgun the red splatter at the beginning. And that is the biggest misplay I could have made this turn. Because Orcas just go off for all their combos. Right here, I could have dropped a Nibiru, but it didn't give me the option to do that. And I was very confused for a while. I was like, why can't I do it? What's wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro? I realized the issue was me, because you can't Nibiru if you use an Eldlixir. Thankfully, I had double judgment, and I had just enough Eldlixirs to get me through this turn. And thankfully the Baylor Drock doesn't banish one of my cards, it just negates the Mizuki effect. And I just had the exact cards. I discard Nibiru to clear boards out. God, winning this game with 250 life points was the most nerve-wracking thing possible, but now that the game state is so, like, simplified, that's what the actual term is, I just start accruing advantage now, and even though they have a lot of graveyard plays, I now get the free Baylor Drock, and Conquistador just helps make sure that I remove any threats that would punch me for that last 250, because they didn't have to do much. But thankfully I had just everything that I needed. Oof, yeah, that was a crazy game. Okay, so game 3 is against Invoked Mech Knight. But once again, this is another time where my opponent just... If I had been able to see their hand, I wouldn't even know what they're playing, because it just feels like they bricked really hard on that one. Trivia, Deska actually made it into top 8, so once again, congratulations to Deska for getting so far. That's really cool. Yeah, the weakness of Perform Pal Popper-Up showed up in this match. They were able to ash all the cards, but even though they ashed it, I was still able to get a lot of those cards back because of the graveyard effects. So I don't know if that counts as like a weakness or just I didn't get as much as I could. It does force an ash for other effects, so that's nice. But yeah, Borzig is really simplified at the beginning. I keep trading resources and then I get them all back. And without any Mech Knights just swarm the field to just smash my monsters, it was pretty difficult for them to get back into the game. Once again, Eldlich's effect destruction immunity comes in really, really great in a format where everyone's running Lightning Storms. Man, I really like the interaction with Ash Blossom on Elder Orlando. It still sticks around, so I can get the Eldlich effect. Okay, yeah, we just had a lot of interaction. I like how I chained these two to get the Eldlich out, and then the White Fate resolves to, then the Red Splatter resolves to Baylor Drock. It was also good to know that a defense position Eldlich and an attack position Baylor Drock were just had too high of a stats for any of the Mech Knights to get over by themselves. And yeah, just here just proves how incredible this deck is at rebuilding boards. You know, you can just throw away all your resources, but you got things like Mizuki and the Eldlixirs to just give you free cards back, and those things translate into a Eldlich. Absolutely massive body with free protection. Really cool game. Okay, here comes my first loss, my first lost match of the tournament, and fittingly enough, it is an Eldlich zombie mirror match. It's the funniest thing. It's absolutely incredible. We keep like running into each other's cards. Like, we're both running super polymerization, but we didn't even need the zombie world to get a Drago Nether. It's wild. I still don't know, like, looking at this footage, I'm trying to figure out where the ebbs and flows were in the mirror match. Though, of course, flipping the skill drain definitely did not hurt. And being on the play meant that they could take advantage of a superpowered Golden Lord, whereas I didn't have anything reactive to combat that. So now they have just an enormous board presence, and in a game where both of us could start just getting advantage out of nowhere, especially with that Huaquero resolution. Good gravy. Yeah, I was out from the very beginning. Though I am upset with myself. We're going to see a Baylor Drock hit the board on my opponent's side of the field in a moment. And that's where I lose a lot of my, a lot of steam on my end, because I forget that skill drain is reciprocal. And I just give up right here. I probably could have played something with that Gozuki, but we'll never know. Okay, so on my turn, we set up a pretty decent board. Popper up once again, just doing so much work. But you know, when you have the lightning storm, you have to waste the. Once again, lightning storm just proves how good being able to just bait removal or negations are. Like, because of that, they're able to establish a better board. But oh yeah, and they played Foolish Burial Goods. That was heads up. I wish I'd thought of that too, because yeah, if you send an Eldlich, that just gives you a golden land immediately for free, or you can just send a golden land if you're fine otherwise, and that just sets you another Eldlich, or no, yeah, just sets you another Eldlich. So that was really cool to watch. Gosh, yeah, no, there we go. They just they had to burn me out for the last 2,000. That's something that I wish I had included in the extra deck. For some reason, I thought of all of the reasons why Gustav Max would conflict with only being able to summon zombies, but not every other thing. So, yeah, the Greater Zombie Master won. Okay, Game 5 was against Dinosaurs, and if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you're probably just skipping ahead like, oh, well, Nova's dueling Dinosaurs, we already know how this is going to go, but I am happy to say that for the first time, captured on camera, I actually take a set against Dinosaurs. It's one of my proudest moments, really. Though I am helped by the fact that my opponent didn't open particularly well. They didn't have a lot of combo extenders, they just kind of had the Overraptor, and I punished them for that. Game 2 is nowhere near as brutal from my, at least from my end. Oof, drop that. Yeah, that Lightning Storm just goes ahead and smashes all those spells and traps. I don't know why they don't resolve the evenly matched here, but that's probably because they just know they have the game and they don't want to waste the battle phase when they can just, you know, drop a UCT and just completely savage everything. Yeah, 35 and 20. Yeah, that game was out. They didn't need to use that evenly matched. Okay, yeah, this is an exceptionally weak start Game 3. I'm surprised I was able to win this out. But something that I didn't think of before going to the tournament is that because I have Zombie World out, Miscellaneous Source's ability to keep their dinosaurs safe is completely shut off because they're all zombies now. So I thought that was pretty fun. Yeah, we just got the Mystic Mind grind. This is an interesting interaction that happens here. So they set Imperial Order, I play Black Awakening, but then they activate their Imperial Order, and that lets me go off now? Yeah, because Unizombie sends the Glow Up Bloom. Even though Zombie World's negated, I still have it on the field, so I can summon Baylor Drock for free. God, if I could win the game right here if I just had, like, what is it? Yeah, like another 1,100 points of damage, because unfortunately I activated Unizombie's effect, and because Zombie World was negated, Drago Nether was not itself a zombie, so it couldn't attack. So an interesting interaction comes up here. I'm able to get rid of their first Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, but that's why you have the second one. But they choose to attack into the Drago Nether, which ends up zeroing out the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which I am very, very happy that that did that. And hey, I got a nice 3,500 point token out of it. Because Imperial Order is gone, though, I can't win the game because that turns on the Mystic Mine again, and that was... Oh, man. That Pankratops was really cool, though. I like how it summoned out, was able to punch a card, and then while Mystic Mine still allowed effects, it punched my back row, and it didn't just get rid of my monster because that would destroy their Mystic Mine. So that was a really heads-up play. Thankfully, we do have answers to Mystic Mine in this deck. Another great reason to play Eldlich. You don't have to worry about playing unsearchable outs of Mystic Mine. You have them. And yeah, just a back and forth duel there that I ended up managing to edge out. Okay, game 6. This is Adamantia. Get ready for a slaughter. Not from me. I get completely shut out by this deck, and it is amazing to watch this thing work. I'm not gonna lie, this is the greatest argument to learning the combo lines of this deck and investing what you can in this deck, because the things that you can pull off in this deck are insane. And this isn't even like the best part. If you go back to the streams, there's a Gem Knight FTK version, because it's an all rock deck that just slots into the general Adamantia game plan. I don't know if that weakens the ability to do all of this in there too, but being able to win games for free seems like a pretty hefty upside when choosing a deck. I forget, this is something I don't like. I forget that Kawaki Overload stops inherent summons, not inherent special summons, so that does stop my Mizuki, and I don't get to, like, send a free card. I also am punished here because I need to learn to set the Andor Londo, because if I had done that before just activating it, even though the Dragite would have negated it, I still would have gotten a send, which would have meant one more piece of interaction that I could have used to break through this board. Thankfully, Necroworld Banshee has more attack than they have any right to have, so I was able to punch over the Appaloosa, but the Dragite being able to negate activations of spells and traps just also really just eats, because it hits my Eldlich's Engrave. I thought that I was safe, but that's what happens when I don't read cards. I also misplayed really big here. I should have chained Necroworld Banshee to the effective Union Carrier to stop them from getting Block Dragon. We'll see in a moment that I'm able to finally remove Dragite from the board to remove the threat of having my entire field bounced, but because Block Dragon's equipped, it doesn't really matter because that just searches every one of their best cards. The tuners are phenomenal. Every single one of them opens up your entire deck. I've seen people whiff with the Excavate effect, but it's not often. And the better people get at building these decks, the better they're gonna get at just completely smashing people like that. I thought I had the game, but then Block Dragon just searches them. 2 tuners and a Gigantus. Like, oh, jeez. I mean, we're post-battle phase, but there's no way I'm getting out of this. Because, yeah, there's another Dragite. All they've got to do is tip 1 rock over, and, yeah. Ooh. That is brutal. Also, being able to run Pachycephalo is ridiculous. You can just, out of a random game state, just also shut your opponent off with special summoning for no reason. Yeah, no. Game state's very simplified on my end. I don't have anything. Even though I have the Lightning Storm to get rid of some of their monsters, they just need 1 attacker, and I am just out. Okay, this is another one that is a big punish on me running a 49 card deck. I went first, and I am pretty sure I sided in my Solemn Judgments to try and stop a lot of these big combo plays, but you get evenly matched, and you're out of the game. I did not draw my Everglorious Golden Land, which would have definitely helped, and I wasn't able to draw into Solemn Judgments. And I don't want to make this sound like, oh, well, they got lucky, I didn't draw my cards or anything. That's a reductive way of looking at it that doesn't really help me as a player. I feel like I would have had a better chance of getting my outs too evenly matched had I just shaved off some more cards from the deck. Now, my issue there is figuring out what to cut. I know that something like Vampire Fraulein is something that I'm not going to want to play. It basically never came up this tournament, but a lot of other things, they just feel so integral to the deck. So just some things that researching and test brewing are going to have to help solve. Another thing that was really, really incredible about this deck is that they have access to Herald of the Arclight, a card that I never expected to see right now, but yeah, completely shuts out my deck. And Orlando's effect Ascent from deck to grave, it can't resolve. I can't use Eldlich's effect in hand to send a card to grave, because that would be sending a card from hand to grave, and you can't do that. So yeah, a ridiculous range of cards that Adamancipator have access to, and I don't think there's like a single thing that locks you into the theme itself, whereas Eldlich does do that. So that's a big point in Adamancipator's favor. So just a really good showing from that deck. It was a sight to behold. Okay, and the last duel was against GoldenNovaYugioh, and it's never a good sign when your opponent opens up the Dimensional Shifter against your zombie deck. Yeah, I lose basically everything right now. I stopped my plays because I didn't want to like link off cards, but then you get Lava Golemed and you get hit anyway, so now I don't have an Eldlich to recur. I don't have a Mizuki to revive from grave. I am just out of cards. Yeah, they just start ripping cards out. I had very situational outs that required me to have specific setups. A zombie world would have made that super polymerization a lot better. Being able to keep my Eldlich would have made Everglorious a lot better, but GoldenNovaYugioh just picks off your cards, and when your cards don't just universally allow you to answer cards, that makes you very vulnerable to this deck. Also, having no monsters makes you vulnerable to 11,000 attack points to the face, so that's neat. Game 2 is one that I got very lucky with. They clearly did not have a lot of play starters, and going second, I had a lot of play starters. I had the Unizombie, I had the Zombie World to get Baylor Drock, we have Black Awakening to just get free material out of the deck. It's honestly ridiculous just how cool it is to play a control deck that can leverage all of this outstanding attack power to just swing out games. I clearly don't beat my opponent out immediately, but we do own the battlefield right now. Even through a super polymerization, even though we get punched for a ton of damage, we are not hit by anything that stops us from making a lot of our plays. But they do have Sanafon, which makes things a little more difficult. I can't just Mizuki cards out of the grave. But a thing that I think is really funny is that Eldlich basically bypasses Sanafon entirely, because technically you're summoning from your hand. But that does put me in a precarious position whenever it comes to dealing with GoldenNovaYugioh, because I don't have access to all of my abilities. Thankfully, the effect isn't turned back on again, and Zombie World just keeps recurring Baylor Drox, and I get enough presence on board to remove the Sanafond and punch for game. And we are down to game 3, and yeah, this just shows off just how punishing it can be if you don't open your control cards. Lightning Storm for all of my back row cards. They summon 2 gigantic, beefy people, and then there's the Battle Phase Super Polymerization. I am completely stripped of cards, and I am out of the game. Just really, really incredible card usage. I am blown away by how cool these decks are, how skilled the pilots were to get this far and to pull these things off confidently, and also all the people that I've had to duel up to this point. It was just a really fun tournament, and I think I fought a different deck every time, and that was really fun. And yeah, that concludes my tournament run, and I have quite a few things to take away from it. Number 1, if I'm gonna run a 40 plus card deck, especially if it's 9 cards over, it better be something extremely powerful. While Eldlich has a number of play starters at its disposal, the best boards you're hoping to build are things like Baylor Drock plus Everglorious, and the inclusion of a number of utility cards dilutes the possibility of seeing the cards I need more consistently, including crucial sideboard techs. Number 2, if I plan to run Nibiru, I gotta train myself not to shotgun the Eldlichers during my opponent's turn. Technically, I did win the game where that misplay happened, but if even one other card I'd used didn't work out the way I wanted to, I would have been dead meat. Pun intended. Had I held onto the Eldlich for later on the turn, I would have been in a much more commanding position after using Nibiru. Number 3. Man, Adamancipator is cool, right? Like, if you doubted anything this deck could do, I implore you to look for like any other feature matches or like combo videos, because you are in for a wild ride. I don't think I've run into 2 Adamancipator decks that have been the same yet. Anyway, that's it for me. I was supposed to take this week off, and I meant it, but I wanted to get this out into the wild before the event cooled off too much. I hope seeing my successes and foibles helped you out in your future endeavors, and if you picked up on any misplays that went over my head, please let me know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for when I make my grand return. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.